All right, so we're here with Trilogy. We thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Let's just start from the beginning. Where you're from? How'd you get into rapping?
I'm from Bloomington, Illinois. It's about 2 hours down from Chicago. Like, kind of small, but not too small. I got into rapping around 13. Alongside producing, I just got a laptop from my mom, so downloaded some software to record myself and make some simple beats. And yeah, I've been going at it ever since.
You start with the beats, or you started rapping?
Well, I tried to start with the beats, but that wasn't working out. I wasn't too good at it. I'm just recently getting good at beats, so I was just kind of doing like remixes and other beats I could find online and stuff like that.
What made you, or I guess, where'd the instinct come from to like really want to try to get into
rap.
it?
Just the love for the culture and everything. Growing up, my mom played a lot of like 50 Cent, Eminem, Dr. Dre, shit like that in the car and just all around me. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna try it myself.
How old were you again when you said like, all right, I want to get into this?
13 is what I count as my starting, because it's like when I recorded my first.
What do your parents think when you're like, did they know that you were getting into rapping, or was it kind of?
I got kind of like obsessed with it, so I like tore my closet down and like hung up this fucking ghetto rig like booth in my closet and everything. It's just like, okay, I mean, I'm gonna support you. Like, yeah. I mean, of course, everybody around her was telling her like, you sure you want to let your son do this and stuff? But she's like, no, I believe in it. So I would always show her my remixes and everything, and so she stuck with it.
Was that your only hobby at the time, or were you like playing sports or?
I was in football.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on like some junior league football teams, but I like music way more.
So when you're 13, are you like, my goal is to be a rapper, or are you like, I'm gonna go to college and?
Oh no, I was head first, like,
yeah.
like all the way through. I was like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it.
I think there's like three types of people. There's people that don't have any goals, and then they just kind of like follow life. There's people that like have a bunch of goals where they like switch around. They do different things, like they'll get into rapping, kind of learn it and do it, and then they go on to something else. And then there's like you, where like you were head first, like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Especially at that age too, where it's like, I think I was like, I wanted to be a professional skateboarder, and then I wanted to be a quarterback, and then I wanted to, it's like you switch all around. And then it's definitely cool that you sort of like, once you got into it, you immediately knew. I'm curious, do you remember those like first remixes, or was there like one that like you were like super proud of?
There was a few. It was terrible. Like, man, I was just like straight, like, because like around that time, like Lil Wayne and like Drake was really hot, so I was just like a Wayne and Drake clone, and like, yeah, Young Money. I even did like the ad libs and everything. So I was doing like most of their songs, like the I'm on, well, yeah, like that one. I was doing a bunch of Lil Wayne and Drake remixes.
I think that was like
so bad.
Whenever rapping for yourself, like whenever you started, the equipment started to come out. We were just talking about this earlier. Like once the equipment came out to where you could record yourself. And like, I feel like the first thing people always did was remixes. Like, and that's not a thing anymore. Like, people don't do remixes anymore. And the beginning of rap stages, like, you always do remixes.
Well, I think it's because it's like hard to know where to start. And so you just like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, oh, let me like just gravitate towards whatever I'm listening to, or like, let me fool around with some Wayne stuff and try to be like,
let me grab that flow real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, like, my beats weren't hot enough to rap over yet. So I was like, I'm gonna just do somebody else's stuff and add my own like style to it or whatever.
So when do you get out of like, I'm gonna do this for myself and not try to remix, and like, when do you get to that point where like, all right, I'm gonna actually do this?
I mean, after like the practice stages, I mean, like from those times of like doing all the remixes and everything, I count those as just kind of practice. Like, it was just no holds barred. You just try everything out, and then eventually you start to develop your own sound. The beats get a little better, and you're like, okay, let me try making my own song now. And you're like, oh, okay, this has potential. Let me make a better song this time, and a better one, and a better one. And it's just growth.
I think whatever craft you have, you always look back on it, and you're like, wow, that shit's whack. Even if people like it, or like, think especially for rapping, like people always talk about how, yeah, that project that I dropped last year is not. Like, I hate that. I can't even listen to it anymore. It's just like, you feel like you're progressing. You feel like you're getting better. So when does rap seem like a feasible thing for you? When does it, like, you're working, you're still rapping? Like, did you ever get into a slump of like,
oh, where I just wanted to dish it? Yeah, plenty of times.
Plenty of times.
I mean, just like there's a lot of no's. Like even before you know, like the whole PTSD situation and winning that. Before I had entered, I don't know if you saw like Futuristics like one take contest, and I lost that, and I was like, dude, fuck this shit. Like, I keep losing them. Like I lost like 4 like in a row before I actually got like a win. There's plenty of situations like that, like shows getting turned down and stuff like that. But I mean, it's like equally balanced because there's yeses along the way too.
Yeah. What were some of those, like, obviously like before PTSD, what were some of those yeses or something that like maybe turned you like back into it or said, okay, no, I can't do this?
Yeah, for sure. It was my first show I did like in my hometown at the Castle. Dizzy Wright came there like with Futuristic, and they hit me up and were like, yeah, we want you to open. And I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. And then so after that, I just got hella motivated. Like after I did it, I was like, oh, like that's what it feels like. I want to keep doing that. So
you ever have like a team around you or like even homies around you, maybe giving you beats, or you ever experience any of that?
I was on my own for like a while. And then I linked up with this producer and engineer in town. After that Dizzy Wright show, I got picked up by like a short-term management. And they introduced me into Oliver. You'll hear me talk about him like for a while. He produces a lot of my stuff, and he's kind of mentored me on a lot of the things I know. So he took me to his spot to record one time, and I was like, oh, yeah, this guy's the shit. He's playing beats, he's doing everything. But it wasn't like an official studio. It was just kind of like a homegrown spot, but like he was super talented. So after that whole short-term management thing didn't work out, I just went to him and kept buying sessions, and eventually he was like, yeah, I'm gonna just give them to you for free. Let's like do this together.
Yeah.
So
was that like a big motivation for you working with him?
Yeah, he's taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Especially on the production side.
Yeah, it's hard like when you're kind of smaller to get like a manager role for you, because like you think about it and you're like, what can this guy do for me that I can't do for myself? And a lot of these manager guys, they have like an in of like doing video work or producing, like you said, or they kind of have the spot for you to go. Like they have something to offer. Whereas like I think you see now, like people are just becoming artist managers and they don't have anything to offer except an email or something, you know? So finding that in with somebody that, and it's also motivation, you know, like you said that.
It's also crazy. I think a lot of managers just come from being friends with people. Like I know like Mac Miller's manager was just like his friend, or it's like, you know, people you grew up with. So it's like, I think it's rare to find that person who sort of through the music, you build a relationship like that, that's homegrown and very organic. Usually it's like very, I think, like business oriented. So I think that personal feel to it and like, you know, really building with each other is important.
Where do you, you still work with this producer?
Yeah. Yeah, he was here with me like last time we came. Okay. We were doing those.
So do you start, when was the real big impact for you? Like the PTSD, would you say that's like your top defining moment? Or
it's definitely the top one. I still haven't even like captured all the way. Usually after situations, I'll like a couple of days later, I'm like, wow, yeah, that was huge. But then like I look at PTSD and I see like a couple million views and a couple million streams and all this crazy feedback and fans talking and everything, and they're coming over to my channels, and it's kind of crazy.
How do you move as far as music wise for you? Like, how do you plan music videos? How do you plan like a release, maybe dropping singles? Like,
so the format I've got going right now is a track a month. So I'll have like a pre-prepared track and put it out and get that all promoted, and just go back to work for stacking. Just so I can have stuff in the vault for maybe like future albums or even more tracks. I'm lacking on the video side right now. I need more videos.
So video things, what you want to get into?
Yeah, I need the videos. They help a lot.
What was that PTSD video experience like for you?
It was different. Like usually doing videos with like one guy with a handheld camera. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Like it's still great. And then like going on to like a bigger set with an actual crew and all these crazy rigs and camera bigger than your head.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, it was official.
I don't think people understand the like big production that goes into, because you like see the scenes and like a lot of the scenes are very simple. You know, they're not crazy scenes. They may be really abstract in the fact of like if you're in an airplane, like that's something that me and you can't just go do. But other than that, it seems simple. Like it seems very easy. It seems something that is. And like you said, the camera is about as big as you. Like,
Yeah.
it's a whole
it's
nother
incredible.
you.
Yeah, on my like second day here, I was at a Cess Crew shoot like downtown, and it was crazy to just like, I've watched thousands of music videos, but I've never like, you never really know what goes into it until you're there and you see like the cameras, the equipment, like, people shooting, and then it's like on top of that, like it's like you have to have this vision beforehand, like, and then knowing how to like piece it together and like, okay, this shot's gonna work from this angle and that stuff, and like it was just crazy for me to do it. So I think we had kind of the same experience where you're like, oh my god, like this is like insane.
Pretty big first music video, like as far as a professional level, even just the music video itself, like the concept, like you're sitting right in front of Tech.
Yeah, that was
like that's got to be pretty intimidating.
That was I think the most difficult like part. Was like, because Tech's a really down to earth guy. Like, I know that and stuff, but then like you get there and they're like, yeah, just rap your verse to his face, and they're like, and he's just looking at you like, go, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I'm here to do this, so we're gonna do it.
Yeah. What was how much like time did you get to spend with Tech before you had sat down to rap in front of him?
We spent a good amount. I mean, cause he took us out to Gates Barbecue actually, so we got to sit down and eat and actually talk first. Before then, it was just basically phone calls. So, yeah, it was a fair share, but it's still different sitting like right across the table.
For people that don't know, just take us through how you got on PTSD and just what that was.
Oh, the process of like actually.
Yeah, like how you got on it and.
Yeah, so I came down pretty hard after that whole futuristic contest, like I said, and then I'm just kind of scrolling down Facebook one day and I see like, oh, Tech N9ne MC contest presented by, DJ Booth and all of this. And I was like, oh, one more, maybe, I don't know. And so I kind of pondered on it a bit and I'm like, you know what? It's like worth a shot. Like, it's not going to happen if I don't at least fucking try. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm going to just do it. And I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to go so hard that like I have no choice but to win it. So, obviously spent like a few days writing that and actually concentrating the verse. I was in Alabama with my grandma at the time, so I had my like little mobile rig set up, so I just recorded a rough draft. And as soon as I got back, I went and actually recorded it with Oliver so I could send it over and turn it in. And yeah, killed it with Oliver and sent it in. And I was like, all right, it's out of my hands now.
Was it just a bare beat when you got it, or what was it?
No, Tech actually had his first verse on there, and then he had an empty verse slot. Okay. So,
what was your inspiration for your verse, or did you base it off Tech, or how did you sort of come up with your idea for it?
I based it off of just kind of what the contest was about and helping people, with post-traumatic stress disorder. I wanted to kind of put the listener in the shoes of a person, with that disability and kind of show them what it might feel like to the person. So I kind of took the character route for my verse. And so just kind of like walk them through like thoughts that they might have, or like not being able to sleep. Like there's a section in there talking about how they have their nightmares and they like want to kill their demons off in their nightmares, but they just can't like sleep properly. Or the psychiatrist telling them like, yeah, we can't help you. You got to figure it out. So I kind of wanted to walk the listener through what that might feel like. That was my inspiration for the verse.
It was funny, like that song came out right when I like started working here. Like it was done, the music video came out. So I didn't really know too much about it or like, what the contest was. But when I first saw the music video, I was like, oh, they got like an ex-Marine to like do a verse or something. Like that's how like you were very good, like the storytelling in it and just like how you came across. Obviously, the video helps too, but like how it came across, I was like, oh, they really got this guy that like an ex-Marine guy that's talking about PTSD and shit. So
no,
it was really good.
When there's things that are like very topic specific like that, I like to kind of just get in the zone and like figure out like how that might feel to be that person before I write. So it's like get my whole meditation on and
you ever do like
in the shoes,
any studying or like like for that instance, do you look up post-traumatic stress or anything?
Oh,
like
yeah. I'll look up like stories and on the situation. And
was there a story that like really inspired you or like something you really drew heavy from?
Not one in particular, just the whole situation.
So you send that verse in, and then how long like until you hear back, or like were you going through like, oh my God, like I'm never
and
then like, oh, maybe it's just taking a long time. Like what was that? What was that process?
Definitely like that, because I remember they gave a date where they would be not when they announced it. They give a date where they would call the winner. So I was waiting on that date. Let's say it's the 7th. I can't remember, but I was waiting on the 7th, and the 7th came. I didn't get any call. I was like, well, I tried my hardest. Fuck, I'm really disappointed, but I tried my hardest. And then the next day, they gave me a call, and I was like, oh shit, it's a California number. What is this? And I picked it up, and they're like, yo. Yeah, they made it seem like I didn't win at first. They're like, yeah, we're just giving you we're just giving you a good grace call. You did awesome, man. It was a really tough competition. There's a lot of guys. You did awesome. We just wanted to say you did great. And I was like,
in your head, you're like, fuck off, don't call me.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh yeah, actually, I got somebody here to talk to you. And Tech picks up the phone. He's like, yo, what's up, dude? It's Tech. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I was just calling to let you know you won, motherfucker. I was like,
man, that's
you
crazy.
Serious? Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. It was a trip.
Is that the biggest phone call you've gotten?
Yeah.
What'd you do to celebrate?
I was just jaw dropping. I walked around a day for that. Yeah. And I told my family, they're all screaming. I'm just like, that just happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then how long until you flew out here for the video?
I think it was about a couple months.
Okay. Were you doing anything to prepare for the video or anything, or what were you doing in that time?
Just working on my own music, keeping the flow of that going.
Did you find that it was was that sort of a spark for you, and you were that I guess maybe a breakthrough for you creatively or whatever?
Yeah, definitely. Because I do struggle with a little bit of writer's block from time to time, but then events like that'll trigger, and I'll knock out 3 songs or something crazy. So.
Would you call yourself a storyteller, or what would you classify your rap? Hard to speak on yourself.
It is kind of hard. I don't know.
But is the PTSD verse take that? Did you approach that differently than you would, I guess, a different song? With another song, do you go in this is the topic I'm gonna hit on?
I kind of do take each track on a case by case basis. So, for a song like PTSD, I'm definitely gonna sit down and prepare myself to become a storyteller, or for another type of track, I might want it to have a certain type of energy, so I'll make it fun, or sometimes I'll just do lyrical acrobatics. It's just kind of song by song. It's not really one overall type.
Awesome. You got anything in the pipeline we should be looking forward to?
More monthly tracks.
More tracks, more monthly tracks. Hopefully music videos soon.
Working on an album.
Working on an album.
Nice.
Yeah. This first album. Or I guess how many projects do you have? We'll call them projects.
2. I've had 2 before this one.
Okay.
But this one's going to be way bigger.
Okay.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
I guess this will be the first official album then.
This is the genius, Chris Calico. Cali, baby. Letting you know you're tuned into Tech N9ne's independent grind on Dash Radio.